Southeast Radio's Business Matters with Karl Fitzpatrick.
Well, Internet of Things company Safecility has recently been selected as one of 5 Greentech enterprises that will be helping Lloyd's Bank to achieve its climate targets. Cian O'Flaherty is the CEO of Safecility, and he joins us now to tell us about its technology solutions and what this opportunity will mean for the company's growth. Cian, you might start the interview by telling us about your own background and the concept behind Safecility.
Morning, Karl. Great to be here. I am a serial entrepreneur, I suppose, for my sins. This is a labour. We started in 2018. We've been working on building a company that is able to capture data from buildings really, really easily. A lot of our customers have a large number of buildings who struggle to capture meaningful information from them because they're distributed across a country or even a continent. So we try to simplify that using modern technology and Internet of Things sensors.
So what type of data are you capturing from these buildings?
We started with fire safety, so we have a product that is fully designed and built in Ireland that automatically tests and manages emergency lighting certification. So that's a critical fire safety system. And on top of that, we have energy monitoring and management, and we also have smart building solutions that offer air quality monitoring and people and utilization. So interesting sort of post-pandemic to see the quality of the air that you're breathing in the office and whether, you know, the office is being underutilized or overutilized and how much space you actually need. So we have a huge amount of different data services that allow companies to do better and operate more efficiently.
And where did the idea for this business come from?
Well, I suppose we used to work in more of the physical building systems, so in lighting and in kind of energy services. And we could see that there was a large untapped or unmet demand for data that was only really achievable if you were paying large sums to people to go out and inspect them in vans. So where we felt we could deliver a new and innovative product range was using modern Internet of Things networks to communicate with the building directly and to bring all of that data from the building straight into the cloud. And plugging your building into the cloud, if you have a lot of them, has huge efficiencies. So we, I suppose, saw the idea and the possibility from working in the old style, and we just wanted to be among the first movers in a digitalization of buildings and property in the face of energy and climate change crises, as well as the ongoing push for more sustainable and more safe constructed buildings.
So what was involved in building out the software and getting all the relevant integrations? Yeah,
we've had to spend a long time. It was an interesting project process, really. I mean, we were lucky to start with a number of UK housing authorities, companies that manage tens of thousands of homes across the UK on our customer roster initially. And they helped us to build a product that really delivered value for companies of that size. But all of that work was done here in Ireland. We designed and manufactured our own hardware here in Ireland, and initially our team of developers, also based up in Dunleary and remotely around the country, built a software application for our customers. But then COVID hit, and COVID was a real challenge for this business. I mean, you'll have gathered, most of our work involves being able to access buildings. And for customers like housing authorities, those buildings could often be care homes and independent living facilities. So the access was incredibly restricted during lockdown. So it was a real challenge for us to, at the point where we launched our product offering in March 2020, the world sort of entered lockdown. So, we had to kind of grit our teeth and survive and grind as well as keep building the product. So it's been an interesting journey through that whole process, and now out the other side, seeing people immediately understand the power of a remote digital technology tool in the wake of the pandemic and actually increase their speed of adoption.
And Cian, apart from housing bodies, what other types of organisations are you targeting?
So we do a lot of work for commercial businesses who would have branches or operations or depots across the country. So some of our customers are large facilities management firms who have warehouses and depots for their teams across the UK and Ireland. We work with some of the largest banks in Ireland and the UK. We've just started working with Lloyd's Bank. And we work with public bodies, particularly councils, who have a lot of quite small buildings and outposts dotted around their council area. And what we are helping them to do is focus on delivering their energy information and the consumption of the building or of particular parts of the building in real time to a single application in the cloud. That helps them control costs, but it also helps them report on sustainability and improve their operations from a sustainability perspective. The critical point of plans around sustainability is having good data. A plan is only as good as the data it's built on. So people are now sort of fundamentally focused on getting that information into their hands really quickly, but affordably.
And of course, Ireland is home to about 1,200 multinational companies as their European headquarters. So does that create an opportunity to be able to leverage the Irish contacts to grow your business with theirs overseas?
Yeah, absolutely. One of our largest customers here and partners here in Ireland is a Spanish headquartered telecoms company. We do a huge amount of work for them and are starting the process now of looking at some of their other regions and locations across Europe. So certainly Ireland's approach to FDI and having multinational businesses headquartered here is brilliant. It gives us access to decision makers and to people who have oversight of an organisation across the continent or the region. And it means that when you deliver a product or a service for these businesses here in one of their operations in Ireland, you have a really strong pitch to go broader across the organisation. So for us, that's a really strong incentive to keep working on our product and improving the value. Our aim is to provide, incredibly high-grade data like building management system level data, but at a fraction, maybe 15 or 20% of the project cost. And those budget figures really are compelling at a multinational scale.
And in terms of developing the product further, what's on the roadmap?
Yeah, look, I think electrification is a huge part of the European energy strategy and sustainability strategy. Delivering sustainable green energy at a large sort of wind power level, but also on a micro sort of domestic solar level. We see that happening in commercial operations. So the drive to electric vehicles for fleets, with the drive to solar PV generation for the buildings. So now you see companies having a much more mixed source of energy across their operations, and reporting on that is increasingly legally required. So there's ESG reporting obligations for listed businesses, for funds, for investors, and all of those obligations are cascading down to smaller suppliers and down the supply chain. So for us, the opportunity is in building products that make these reporting requirements easy to do, but those at the same time, by implementing the systems, you make it easier to manage and reduce your own sustainability footprint and your emissions using smarter information and better data.
Building management system software has been on the market a long time. Has there been an opportunity for Safecility to integrate with any of them?
Absolutely. I think the big challenge for companies has always been that they're locked into legacy systems or wired approaches which run a huge amount of cabling across buildings. So where we're disruptive is that we will add on or bolt on using wireless systems, so it's significantly cheaper to deploy, and we will then integrate with some of the larger systems. So the customers retain all of the expense and the value from what they've invested in, but we really supercharge that by adding wireless flexibility to where they need to capture data from or where they need to monitor. Similarly, on the flip side, there's a huge untapped or misunderstood market around retrofitting, where 90% of the buildings that we're going to live in and use in 2050 are already built. So any of our climate ambitions and energy reduction initiatives and sustainability plans have to have an answer for how 90% of our existing buildings are going to meet those targets. And the only really compelling way of capturing the data to prove you're doing it is to do a wireless retrofit of your buildings and systems. It isn't feasible to try and sustain the planet and run significant amounts of copper cable across 90% of our building stock. It's just not going to happen. So that data collection via wirelessness is the key
Safecility was recently selected as a winner of the 2023 Sustainable Innovations Competition. Talk to us about that particular competition and what it meant to you.
So we've been fortunate to work with the Waits Group in the UK for a few years as part of their innovation consortium. These are small companies with innovative products that the Waits Group try to bring to their much larger customer base. And as one of those customers is Lloyd's. The Lloyd's banking group every year seeks out startups and scale-ups and small businesses with innovative products to try and help them meet their extremely ambitious climate goals. Lloyd's banking group are on a mission to reduce their total energy consumption across their buildings by 50% by 2030, to completely green their electricity consumption and to cut their CO2 footprint. These are huge, huge tasks. But they have resourced it, and as part of that, they're trying to bring in small, innovative companies who can help them to achieve those goals. So for us, we were saying, again, the point we address is that any of those plans need to have a baseline of incredibly powerful data. You can't cut something in half unless you are really sure that it's monitored and that you know the changes you're making are having an impact. So you need to be able to target your resources and your actions at changes that make a difference. And you only know it makes a difference if you have the data. So what we've been pitching to them is that the black boxes, say their retail portfolio or their real estate portfolio, buildings without a control system or without management, can suddenly be brought online at a very affordable cost as part of an ongoing energy project. All of their buildings suddenly become transparent. They can understand what's happening in real time day to day and capture the energy use across those sites. And that feeds a feedback loop that drives them towards their 50% reduction. We were fortunate to be the final 6 out of 200 companies that entered. And then at the pitch, we were chosen as one of the 5 companies to share a £150,000 fund for proof of concept projects. So we have started that process, and we're looking forward to embarking on proof of concept with Lloyd's over the next 3 to 4 months. But it's huge for us. It's an incredibly large company taking a huge amount of trust in a small business, and it absolutely changes our business, changes our attitude, but changes the credibility when we're dealing with others, certainly peers of Lloyd's banking group, and it's been fantastic.
And Cian, potentially, is there an opportunity here for Lloyd's to promote Safecility to their commercial clients?
Absolutely. Lloyd's are not just a bank, they're also an investor, and they run a series of private investment funds. We're hoping that there's opportunities there in some of their real estate and other investment portfolios for the product to provide value. And for us, it's fundamentally always about providing value for our customers. So I think as long as we can continue to provide value, we are going to be able to help and benefit from the Lloyd's Banking Group wider network.
And provide us with an insight into the Waits Innovation Network portal and how this benefits your business.
So it's a unique enough proposition. The suppliers, the main vendors and the main contractors to Lloyd's formed a group led by Waits to promote innovation within the business. So from a facilities management, construction management side of sector and all of the bits in between, these companies share on a committee, ways of doing things better, led by Lloyd's. So at the head of that is the Waits Innovation Department, and they run and maintain a portfolio accessible to all their customers of startups whose technology will help companies to deliver more sustainably. And that's a huge exposure. These Waits work with the NHS, they work with local councils, they work with some of the top FTSE 100 companies across the UK. So it's a huge shop window for us that we would otherwise, struggle to access, given the size and scale of our resources.
And Cian, finally, what are your long-term growth plans for the business?
We really feel that there is an opportunity over the next 2 to 3 years across Europe, not just in the UK, to deliver significant volumes of building data wirelessly and at a good affordable price. Changes to European legislation, the upcoming Buildings Directive, are likely to make mandatory reporting, which will be simple in a new commercial office building, but extremely hard in a legacy office building built in the 60s. And we're all about capturing that opportunity over the next 3 to 4 years.
Well, if you've just tuned in, that was Cian O'Flaherty from Safecility, and a fantastic opportunity now lies ahead for the business to further enhance its growth trajectory.
Southeast Radio's Business Matters with Karl Fitzpatrick.